Ciao, buongiorno, wherever you are and whatever time it is in the world right now. We are eternally thankful for you for tuning in, if I'm not mistaken, to episode 10. That's right, ragazzi, we have made it to 10 episodes of the Interworldwide podcast, and we are coming at you this week with so much to speak about. Probably a good thing that we gave it the good 3 or 4 days in between, because I can tell you right now this podcast might have sounded a little bit different had we recorded straight after the catastrophe in Florence shown by the officiating. I am joined by one absolutely ruthless panel at the moment. Shout out to my good friend Alessandro. How you doing, buddy?
Very good. Hi, everybody.
That's good. And of course, coming fresh out of NYC, it is everyone's favorite, Mauro Icardi. How you doing?
What's going on?
Not too much, brother. And of course, the realist, always real, keeping it real, Christian Rivas. What's going on, man?
Hey, enjoying this Cali weather right now. Hey, just to let you know, we have a new nickname for Mario. No, this guy was canonized in Italy for his profits of Mauro Icardi.
Wait. I think you actually cut out right as you said the nickname. So I got the description, but you might need to say that nickname again.
El Santo Gagliano.
El Santo Gagliano. Let me write that down. El Santo Gagliano. All right, got it. That's what we'll be referring to you from now on, Mario. Is you okay with that? Cool. I'm glad we have your permission. Thanks,
love it.
Man. All right, let's jump right into it, ragazzi. Episode 10, and I got to tell you right now, I'm still pretty pissed off. Not as emotionally reactive as I was before, but just when you think you've seen it all. I was talking to a few boys from Australia, and you're like, you know what? As an Aussie Interesti, you're always ready for the worst. You're ready for the worst thing on a Monday morning because we're used to starting our work week off pretty poor. But that's never right because Inter always finds a way to break that heart in a different way. And this time it came in the form of an absolute BS penalty via the referee in the 98th minute, who was looking for any excuse in the book to drop Inter's points. I will start with Alessandro. Can we please have your fallout from the Fiorentina match? What are your thoughts? Go as deep as you want into your conspiracy theories if you have one, because coming from Australia, it's really easy to put conspiracy theories together, but you're a more reserved, educated person, having lived in Italy yourself for a while, so talk to us a bit about your personal fallout from Florence.
I like how just being in Italy, I'm more educated. I don't know how that works, but I like the concept anyway. To be honest, I don't see any conspiracy or anything too deep. I think just the referee screwed up in that case, and honestly, I don't see anything too bad to say to the team until literally 1 minute to the end. We were winning the game. We did a pretty neat game. We were down 1 and then bam, 3-1. So we can really say anything bad to the boys this time. Just the ref made the wrong call. He made the wrong call, went to the VAR, double check, spent 5 minutes to watch the video, asking other people, like, what should I do? And then he decided to give the penalty anyway. And that's just a lack of personality of the referee and nothing more. I don't think the only team who can get anything from this penalty is Milan, honestly. And I don't think they have the power like back in the days Juventus had, Napoli the same. I don't think there is any conspiracy behind this. It's just one referee that made a huge mistake. And even if you watch the Fiorentina Atalanta game today, another referee made pretty much the same call to against an Atalanta player who hit the ball with the face, and the referee gave a yellow card because he called it a handball after a Fiorentina player started to protest. I mean, that's just how the game is right now. It seems like the referees are not using the technology in the right way. They're kind of like, they don't want this thing to interfere with them, so they're not gonna use it. And right now, we are one of the teams we suffering the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, to be honest, I'm going to say this, and to you guys, it won't sound very familiar, but in Australia, we play rugby as our main sport. It's actually called rugby league, which is the most followed sport in the country. And just recently, they introduced in the last 2 seasons a lot more technology in terms of going to a third and a fourth official. But what that's done is it's seen the actual officials on the pitch, the referees, lose bucket loads of confidence in their own ability. Where in the past, referees were quite decisive and authoritative on the pitch, saying, no, this is my call, what goes. You just see them looking dumbstruck on very basic decisions. And I fear this is what the VAR is kind of doing to the referees in Italy at the moment. They're taking very minimal accountability. They're looking left, right, and center for the right answer while also feeling very nervous in themselves. And, just to me in general, it doesn't really seem like the way I want the match to be flowing. Mario, over to you next. What was your fallout from Fiorentina, and what are your comments on the VAR? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's just not working properly in Italy at the moment? Talk to us, man.
I think the scoreline reflected the game. Actually, I thought it was a very good game. I was, I was obviously not happy that we lost. We tied the way we did, but I mean, the game flow, it had a tie written all over it. We went down 30 seconds, whatever the hell it was. We bounced right back, scored a goal, went up 2-3-1. And then, we looked like we were in cruise control. Muriel comes in, hits a freaking bombasso of a free kick. And, that's when shit started to go downhill, and we have our backs to the walls. We caved in, and this is what happens. They had so many chances to tie the game, even without the penalty. So it was almost expected. It was just that the ball didn't go in unless the ref put it in, pretty much. And it's a shame that it had to end like that. Because, sure, a win would have been ideal. I would have loved it, but, I'm like, all right, we caved. We kind of earned the draw at the end of the day. And Fiorentina they looked really good. Like, aside from was it 30 minutes that we just dominated them. As far as the VAR goes, it's just so improperly used. It's not even funny anymore. You saw last season, Juve had a penalty taken away from, I don't even know who the hell it was, some stupid team, that they called offsides 3 minutes before the play even happened. They went all the way back just to find a way not to give a penalty. Here, they find a way to give a penalty, whatever way it is. And like Spalletti said, it could have been a penalty, but that doesn't mean it is a penalty. There has to be evidence that it's a penalty, and the referee, he called a penalty. He wasn't sure of it. They spent 5 minutes of our extra time looking at the penalty, going back, disregarding the foul on D'Ambrosio as per usual, because, why would VAR help Inter? But we've actually been pretty lucky with it this season, not even gonna lie. But, it's ridiculous at this point that so many teams are just dropping points and it's just being treated unfairly in some instances. This is just a pure case of bullshit, just straight up. Like, this is it's the way what it tells me is this is Juve's league, and we just play in it for fun at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and that's where my conspiratorial thoughts come from. Like, are we playing in Juve's league? Are they looking for any excuse just to dick Inter over? I hate sounding like this because it makes you sound like a real whingy sort of fan, but when you see the clock tick over to the minutes of the triple digits, and then you see this given, it's really hard to think otherwise, and I still think something's fishy about it. Look, the good news is that I'd have to agree with Mario and Alessandro. Our performance was actually really, really good. The boys dug deep, and, at one point I thought we were going to run away with it. They looked confident, and I really, really hope that they take this mentality into the next game against Cagliari, because we can still put together a really good run over the next few fixtures, especially if we can win against Milan, but we'll speak about that a little bit later. Realist Rivas, I don't want to leave you hanging in the background, man. That's the last thing I want to do. So can you please talk to us about your thoughts on the Fiorentina fallout and the video assistant referee system altogether, man?
I mean, personally, I agree with Mario. VAR. I mean, it's good to have the technology there. The problem is it's not being used properly. They're not utilizing it. It came down to a referee not wanting to look dumb and having 3 wrong calls in one game overturned. You know what I mean? That's how I took it. I felt he knew he was wrong. He felt if he would have overturned the penalty, they would have killed him in Florence. That's what it comes down to. And it was the wrong call. He even admitted to himself. I believe they said he admitted that it was the wrong call after.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go back and look at that quote. But if you're admitting that you were wrong, what's that do for us now? It's not like the league's going to go back and give us those 2 points.
Well, can't you think of last year, man, when we had this situation against Juve where a couple of days later, everybody came out and said that it was the wrong decision. But that didn't help us. All it did was help Juve at the time. This result absolutely stunk to high hell of that same fixture. So I really hope it can spur us on. And Beppe Marotta said, I'm sure what we read is that he confronted the referee after the match, and he was pretty calm and placid about it all, which is what he has to be at the moment. I don't think it would have been a wise reaction for Marotta for the first incident to come out guns blazing and go, no, that's a bullshit penalty, into a hard done by, rah, rah, rah. He was very professional. He said, look, this is a very serious decision that has affected us, but we hope and we will try that it will not let us derail our season, which was very well said. I'm really happy to have him here. Moving away from the Fiorentina result, we need to look forward ahead to this week's match against Cagliari, a perfect opportunity for us to bounce back against a side who I would still say is struggling, who is still going to be looking over their shoulders at the relegation table at some point. It's very, very important for us to collect 3 points in Sardinia this weekend. I'm going to start with Mario. What are your thoughts going into Cagliari this weekend? Give us a little bit of your personal team news. Who has to play? Who's going to miss out? What are your thoughts going into Cagliari, Mario?
I'm pretty confident. Cagliari doesn't really appeal to me as like a good team. They've just been losing left and right. They lost to Sampdoria last week, 1-0. They beat Parma, man down. They got smashed by Milan, Atalanta, Sassuolo. It's just a poor run of form, and they don't really have much going for them. So I feel like our team might have a slight edge because they have that fire that they want to come back and show Serie A that we're not no bitches, that we're gonna come back, fight VAR, fight the league, the ref, whoever we have to do, work hard and win these stupid games that we have to win. Because at the end of the day, we just need points. Doesn't matter who we beat. I don't care if it's Juve, if it's Bologna, if it's Cagliari, if it's Parma, if it's Palermo, whatever team gets us 3 points and keeps us moving up in the standings. As far as who needs to play, Lautaro obviously has to be up there. You can't be messing around with Icardi and his nonsense and his blasphemy of a knee, whatever you want to call it. Turn him into RoboCop, put him in a robotic freaking leg. Just the way he makes it sound, But if we can get Dalbert playing with Perisic and maybe move Asamoah in the midfield, which I'll say every week if I have to until it freaking happens. Keep D'Ambrosio on the right back spot, make him redeem himself after that sham of a call. The midfield, there's not much there, so it's Nainggolan, Brozovic, Vecino, I guess, who's scored a nice goal last week and has been proven himself to be better, but still mediocre at the same time. Perisic has really shown that he's taken the spotlight since Icardi's been bench injured, whatever you want to call it. And then hopefully in the coming weeks we see Keita Balde come back. Candreva is Candreva. Hopefully Politano keeps scoring. He scored a beautiful goal this weekend. Defense, just solid as always. Unfortunately we let up three goals, but Fiorentina is a tricky side because at home we saw them not destroy Atalanta's defense, but they kept them guessing. Chiesa has always been a threat, and so that was a game that was a joy to watch. That was ruined by refereeing. But enough on that. Going forward, I like it 2-0. Lautaro scores a penalty, and Nainggolan scores again.
Nice one, bro. How good's that Keita Balde 3-week injury that we got notified about at the start of December, man? That's a real good 3 weeks, eh, Mario?
Oh my God! I mean, in a team that's struggling for depth as it is, especially at the striker position, and he's been featured there a couple times this year, and it wasn't the worst. It worked because whatever gets Icardi out of the lineup works for me, and I'm a happy camper. Um, but I don't know what's going on. It seems like him and Icardi are just making up injuries as they go along. It seems maybe they're in cahoots with each other for these stupid injuries. We'll see.
Maybe. Moving over to Alessandro, what are your thoughts on the psychological aspect of the team moving into Cagliari? Do you think we collect 3 points and basically echo what Mario said, show not only ourselves but the whole league that, hey, yeah, you can dick us over 1 week, but we're going to come back stronger. We've got goals to reach, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking exactly the same thing. On top of that, I would just point it out that we are not the only team with problem in attack. Also, Cagliari is not in full selection basically. Um, on top of that, we're gonna play the Europa League, so probably we're gonna see some of the players that they are not in the list for Europe playing this game. And I noticed that today the official channel of Intel posted a clip with young, two or three young attacking players training with the first team, and I think that's a signal, something like, "Hey, we still have players that can take Icardi's place. We are not just counting on him." I mean, if you think of what happened with Zaniolo and all the regrets and all the chatting that came out, we have one of the best young team in Italy. So I don't see why we have to count only on Lautaro. We have Colidio, we have Salcedo, we have other very good players. They're young, they don't have experience, but I think that's the perfect occasion for them to rise up.
What goes on
Absolutely.
with the youth, I think, is uh, we've proven to have a really good youth program. The Primaveras won the Coppa Carnevale a couple times. They won the league. I think they make it the Champions League or whatever. But once they get to that next level, the Serie B, the Serie C, it just falls apart for whatever reason. And these are kids that should be shining when they move on and get that spotlight, rather than just falling as a victim of an average player. Like we see all these players that are killing it in the Primavera, but once they get to the men's league, they can't cut it. So how are they going to cut it at Serie A, where they're playing against the best defenders in the world? I'd go as far to say they're going to go against Chiellini. How are you going to go against Chiellini when you can't go against freaking the defenders in Palermo, where they can't defend holding hands?
I would
And
say
that's
that.
what they were saying about Zaniolo, but look at what he's doing. I mean, he's debuted against Real Madrid, and since then he's playing every other week and scoring every other week. So, I mean, you never know. If you're actually there and you know the potential of these guys, you should be able to see who is at the Serie A level, Serie B, Serie C, or whatever it is. So,
Yeah. I would have to
um,
agree with Alessandro there. I would say that, we're not looking at every player from the Primavera that's good enough, but you take that one, two, or three out and put them in a more professional and experienced environment with some more classy athletes around them. All of a sudden, it maybe elevates them to a level that we've been waiting to bring out of them. So maybe it is time to give one of our youngsters a chance to shine in our Serie A team, and who knows how they looking for. But Inter's never really been one of those teams to promote the youth at such a rapid pace. So I agree with everything Alessandro was saying, but I think it's wishful thinking at this point of the season, with such crucial points on the line. Not Mario, Christian, we haven't crossed to you yet, Mr. Rivas, for the Cagliari fixture. What are your predictions? I'll just quickly say that Cagliari's last 5, 1-0 loss against Sampdoria, 2-1 victory against Parma, 3-0 loss to Milan, 1-0 loss to Atalanta, and a 3-0 drubbing to Sassuolo. Rivas, does that leave you confident going into Sardinia this weekend?
No, it doesn't. You know why? Because it's typical Inter. We can't beat the teams we're supposed to. So, am I confident?
We don't have Icardi on the field.
That's true. Am I confident? No. Do I expect us to win? Yes. But it's just typical Inter. Like, yo, let's just be real. It's just the same story over and over and over again. Let's hope that now without Mauro, we break that little cycle of we're going to lose to these little shit teams that we should beat. That's just my opinion. And also, I'm going to go back to that Zanilo whole argument that you guys are having there, or conversation. I think that was a blip in the system. I personally don't think that if he was at Inter, he would have balled out the way he's balling out at Roma. At Roma, he's got no pressure. At Roma, he's pretty much set up to succeed. If he was to come to Inter, let him give 3 straight bad passes and see how bad he gets booed. see how they crucify him and see how that kid handles the pressure. Anybody could go to a team like Roma where you won maybe at the most 10 trophies in total, in the whole total of your club. There's going to be no pressure there. But you go to Inter where there's been legends, and you think that you're just going to hop in there and you're going to ball. It doesn't work like that. I stand by my statement. It was a blip in the system. I want to see him do it 2 or 3 seasons in a row. I've seen so many of these kids come out and they ball out for 1 season and then boom, they're a fluke. The next season they fall.
Yeah, I would have to agree, man. I would have to agree 100%. But that's exactly why I say that it is a risk, especially at this time of the season. Bringing in a young player into this lineup at the moment, I think it's very, very risky. So sticking with what we have at the moment might be the best option. That pretty much concludes Cagliari, and it's time to move on to everyone's favorite headline, especially yours, Mario. But because I've got Rivas on the line, we're going to stay with you, Rivas. The latest on our favorite ex-capitano, Maurito, is that he has been approached and is now talking to both Napoli and Juve, and the possibility of an internal transfer is now becoming the probability of the whole goddamn scenario. I'll just read a couple of dot points from the previous few days. Apparently, Mattias Vecino has been trying to contact him, and he's refusing his calls. Not only that, he has failed to return any of Javier Zanetti's calls or emails. And on top of that, he's just pretty much gone a little bit AWOL while posting some other ugly social media images. Rivas, I know I've asked you a couple of other podcasts, man, but when is this scenario going to be closed, at least temporarily, until the season finishes, man? Where do you stand?
It's not going to be closed. This guy's going to sit here and he's going to try and bring on more and more media drama to himself because he likes it. Him and Wanda love the attention. And I hope that he goes to Juve personally because that's where he fits. And I'm pretty sure he'll disrupt their whole locker room and he'll cause an issue over there. So I would love for him to go there, and I would love to get the Balde. That's just me personally. He goes to Napoli, cool. Give me Insigne and cash. You want him that bad? Give me one of your best players and give me a good 20, 30 million on top of it. Yeah, you want to come and play? You want to come here and take one of our players that we rate at 110 million for any team outside of Italy? Well, you're in Italy, so let's negotiate. Give me Insigne and give me 30, 40 million on top of it, and you can have that bum.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with everything you said, man. I was saying to my dad the other day, we've got a real good chance here to show our cojones, to show our balls. You want to come at our ex-captain that we've just stripped the armband, 110 million, and you may need to throw in a player as well. Napoli, throw in Insigne, throw in somebody there. Throw in Alan and about 70 million, and I'll take it as well. In terms of Juve, I've wanted him. I never thought I would say this, but after seeing all the turmoil and chaos that he's caused, you're right. It is the perfect location for him. And after talking to a couple of Juve fans and reading the Juve forum, I'd say about 2% of their fans want him halfway to Turin. No one wants that guy and his Putana anywhere near that club at the moment. So I really think they've caused a shitstorm for themselves, and it's not going to end anytime soon. Alessandro, swinging it back to you, I'll ask you a question and then rattle on with whatever you want with the Mauro saga. But what would your thoughts be if we were to send Mauro to Turin, and how do you think it would happen?
Okay, so realistically, I don't think that's gonna happen for a couple of reasons. Mostly, well, let's say that it really depends if Juventus is going to pass this Champions League stage or not, because it may look they are the richest team in Italy and they can buy Ronaldo and they can afford to pay Ramsey, but they're not in this great position at the moment. They are a little bit in red in their bank account. They just inject another, I think, 100 million recently, and that's to cover these expenses. And they were really thinking, okay, this year we're gonna win the Champions League, and with that money, we're good. Next year we're gonna play a couple of players, and we're golden. But if they get out in this stage of Champions League, that's a problem. Then you have to pay all this very high salary, and if you add on top of that Icardi, I don't think that's gonna happen, honestly. If they do that, it means they need to sell 3 players. And I was reading today, I know probably it's just BS, but that Marcelo is going to Juventus. I can totally see that happening just because of Ronaldo, and Marcelo is just like the best friend or something like that. So I can see that happening, and they have a good relationship with Real Madrid, with Marcelo agents. So that's something that I can see. Icardi, if he's moving, they said that he needs to stay in Italy because of the problem with Wanda's children's, and they need to stay in Italy, so their family is going to stay in Italy. So the only other team that can afford Icardi is Napoli, and I think that's a good solution for everybody because they have good memories of Argentina strikers. They always had this connection with them, so Icardi can find like a really good place to stay for them, and De Laurenti can afford this kind of transfer. They're doing good. They are doing smart moves, and I think potentially they're gonna get even better than Juventus. They're gonna pay cash. They're gonna pay with other players. That's something that I don't know. Insigne is not gonna move from there. Insigne is a simple Napoli. It's Napoli 100%. So he's not gonna move from there. Koulibaly, if he's moving, probably is going to another league altogether. And I think for next year we're pretty good in defense. So if we're gonna look for somebody's midfielder, and they have a really good selection over there. So maybe
Who would you take?
Well, Alan is the first name that popped in my mind, but let's see. I personally like Zielinski. That's somebody. It's a young player that I really like, but I'm sure if you look at their midfield, everybody can pick one and find a good one. You know, their midfield. They always been very good selecting midfielders, and they got lucky with Koulibaly, but otherwise, the midfield is where they were strong and always been strong.
Yeah, I
Other
would
than
agree
that,
there.
what I think should happen right now with Icardi, and it's not from Zanetti, because apparently even if they are from Argentina, both Zanetti is not taking any stand, and that's something that is start bothering me a lot. I think at this point, actually, Spalletti should intervene, take Icardi in the locker room with the other players, and just face the whole situation all together in the locker room, saying, what is your problem? Who has some problem with Icardi? You need to talk, figure it out, and we are not going to leave this locker room until we find a solution. That's it.
Yeah, hopefully it's not easier said than done, like the way you're making it sound, because you're making it sound really common sense based and really straightforward. But that doesn't really appear to be the way that the club's taking this approach. Mario, your turn, man. Don't go all out, man. Leave some time for the rest of the podcast. But just based on the behavior recently, man, do you see this ending anytime soon, or would you echo the thoughts of Alessandro and Christian?
I think he's gone at the end of the season. I think best case scenario for all parties is he goes to England, because any Serie A player that goes to England ends up hating their life. So I hope he goes there. His family falls apart, and then uh, we make a lot of money on him. I don't care who we get to replace him, because literally anyone could do his job for Inter better than him. We've seen that with Lautaro. We're getting the results. We saw with Eder, we got results. I don't give a shit who the fuck we beat. We got results. We're like freaking 27, 30. I don't even know how many wins. I lost count. 30 wins, like 4 losses, and like 5 draws. So anyone who wants to argue with me on that, get ready. So yeah, I hope he goes to like Manchester United, falls victim to the England syndrome, ends up on the bench, put him with Sarri. I don't give a shit. He needs to get the hell away from us. If we sell him for, let's say, I'm gonna lowball us because we're handled the situation poorly. I'm gonna say we get 60 million for him. I think that's a fair round number because he wants out, we want out, and somebody says he's good. Someone's dumb enough to think he's good enough for their team and that he's gonna actually help them. So he goes to England. Let's say Chelsea. He goes to Sarri. Sarri realizes, wow, this guy sucks. I have him and Higuain. What the hell do I do? Then again, Chelsea can't buy anyone, so I'll go fuck myself. He goes to Manchester United, let's say, because they pretty much need a striker because Lukaku is a black Icardi and useless.
Well said, man. As always, articulate as always. That's where we're going to wrap up the Mauro saga because, to be honest, I didn't want to talk about it that long. I think we've done actually pretty well. Keeping conscious of time, we've actually got a fair few comments that have come in this week. So I'm going to go onto these because they weren't just comments, they were questions. And these were really good ones. So I'm going to throw them out to my boys here. Angelo from Melbourne. This is my favorite question this week. Judging by the locker room distress and the current issues, do you think that Luciano Spalletti has earned another year on his contract if he can finish in the top 4? Question mark. I'm going to start with this one and then I'll throw it out to a couple of you. I was adamant that Spalletti was part of the problem. Only as little as about 3-4 weeks ago, you can check our YouTube page and check the fallout from the Bologna match, where I'm pretty much delusional when I say that he's an average manager. But in wake of what we've found out in the recent weeks, it's almost a safe bet to say that Luciano Spalletti has continued to do a great job, has continued to uphold at least the majority of the side, where another manager could have completely let it slip. I think if we hit top 4 in this season, which we should, in regards to everything that's happened, I think Luciano Spalletti has actually done quite a good job, and it's only these recent developments in the news that have forced me to think this way. Realist Rivas, what's your current thoughts on Spalletti? And I got to ask you, has it changed at all in the last few weeks where we've realized that the core of our issues have actually arisen from a further problem rather than the tactical implementation from our boss?
Honestly, I still say he got to go.
Mm.
You take it how you want. It's time to get a big team manager. You know, it's just the way the whole Icardi situation was handled poorly. His tactics. Listen, I was at that PSV game, bro. There's nothing that's gonna change my mind about Spalletti after seeing him play for a fucking draw, excuse my language, for a draw at the San Siro, knowing that freaking Tottenham had just tied Barcelona, and then he's still playing for the draw till the last 3 minutes where he's telling everyone to attack. No, dude, that's not a big team mentality. You can disagree with me all you want. Send him back to Roma. We need a big team coach. It's just simple as that. Any big team coach, let's say Mourinho, if Mourinho was here while Icardi was pulling the stunt, you know what would have happened. The way the whole Icardi situation was handled was poor. I guarantee you, if Mourinho or Conte was here, it wouldn't have went down the way it did. And also, if either one of them were here, we wouldn't be playing in Europa League. We would be playing in the Champions League still, probably going to the next stage. That's just being realistic. You take it how you guys want. That's just my personal opinion.
Fair call. Mario, on to you, man. We'll keep it brief. Spalletti for you. Has your mind changed at all in the last few weeks, or would you agree with Christian? Like, while we're here, let's kill the two birds with the one stone and get a big boy manager in next season?
Honestly, I didn't really see us getting rid of him to begin with, because who are you gonna replace him with? Conte? I don't know if it was really realistic. Mourinho, I doubt he comes back after he won everything with us. He wants to go out on top. There's really no reason for him to come and do it all again, even though he's a free manager. I feel like Spalletti was told to keep quiet about the whole thing with Icardi up until all this stuff happened, and now they're going to stick behind him.
Yeah, I would agree, man, but well said. But I still think, I don't know, maybe implementing a new boss would really disrupt or rattle the progress that we've made. But hey, they'd have an off season to work with, so pretty much shot myself in the foot with that comment. Alessandro, has anything changed on your opinions about Luciano, or would you keep him around if he can lock down that third or fourth position?
No. my answer is pretty short. No, he needs to go next year.
Fair call. Keep it nice and short. Moving on to the next comment, which was another great one, and it was a question, so it's going to be a 4-man poll with me and the ragazzi. Isaac from Los Angeles, it's pretty cool, sends in, we can only redeem one at the end of the season. It's looking like that. Politano or Keita Balde? Who do you pick? Ashoka not going first. Christian?
First, I love LA. Second, Politano.
Cool. Any reason why?
Yeah, the burrito I just had at Sonoritos was really good. And Keita Balde's been hurt. And Politano's just been balling since the beginning of the season. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stop by the Santa Monica Pier just to get a view. That is why I love your city. And I went to go see your boy Mickey Mouse.
Nice one, man. Mario, end of the season, we got a little bit of cash to spend because we're going to get rid of Mauro, and we know that we need another man to come in from the wide right. Matteo Politano or Keita Balde?
Politano.
Cool.
Keita Balde has not done anything. He played a couple of good games, but I don't know. I don't see him coming.
That's fine. That's all good. Alessandro, Politano, Balde, if it came down to your money and your back pocket at the end of the season.
Politano, no doubt.
Why? What for?
It's just more consistent, and I don't know. It seems to be integrated already with the team. With the, he can play different formations. It's just I don't know, more mature in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with all three of my members with a couple of different reasons. I actually think Keita Balde all round is a more versatile player. I think he can implement himself anywhere on the front three and even behind a striker if he needs to. But the injury thing is one thing. The integration thing that Alessandro just said is a huge factor. He looks really well integrated into the badge. He looks like he loves this team. He looks like he wants to be here for the core of his career, which is also a plus. Not only that, if you actually analyze the statistics, he's going to cost almost half the price of Keita Balde. I'm pretty sure after paying an initial fee, we're only about 20.5 to 21 million euros away from redeeming Politano. It might even be a little bit less. Can anybody help me with that? Christian, do you know how much we're looking to redeem Politano for?
I think it is around 21. I'd have to Google it, but I think it is around 21.
Yeah, with Balde.
I thought it was 20 in total with the 7 that we already paid, but don't quote me on that.
Well, there you go. It could even be cheaper than we thought. So I'll go with Politano for that reason, and that reason mostly as well. They're not that far off from each other. Last comment as well. Adam from Lebanon, great place. Know lots of people from there. Can you guys talk about the Mercato, and can you talk about any of our prospects? Adam, I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but we might leave this question for next week or the week after, because there's just too much going on in terms to talk about Mercato stuff at the moment. The only thing I will touch on, and I'm going to ask because the rumors have been flowing around, if Ivan Rakitic was available, what is the most you would pay for him, and would you want him in the team? Nice and quick, Mario. Ivan Rakitic, what are your thoughts, man?
Sign him up. 50 million, I don't know, whatever it takes.
Cool. Sounds good. Christian, you like Rakitic. You think he'll pair with Brozovic well. He's obviously 55 times better than Vecino. He does everything that Vecino is supposed to do in a double pivot midfield. Rakitic, yes or no, Christian?
I love Rakitic, so I'm going to say yes. The most I'll spend on him, honestly, is 60. I'm not going over 60. Maybe I'll push 65 with bonuses, but that's a
lot
pretty
of
fair
money, man.
He's turning 30 years. He's turning 30 years old.
He's turning 29, bro.
Oh, whatever.
Same shit.
Still, man, that's a lot more. That's about 20 more than I would have paid, especially considering that we're still looking at Barella. He's my main guy. I want Nicola Barella. Alessandro, what are your thoughts on Ivan Rakitic, man?
I wouldn't spend all that money, the 60 or 50, if it's around 30, maybe. It looks like another Brozovic. Not that we don't need a player like that, especially to give Brozovic some rest. But as you were saying, Barella is another option, and I think in the midfield we need somebody to create some game. And Rakitic is like Brozovic. He's really good passing, but we need somebody with more, I don't know, like invention, somebody who can create something from nothing and not just following the usual scheme. So
yeah, don't worry, Alessandro. I'm keeping tabs on Rafinha's fitness to hit you back up with that whenever it's free. Just sticking with Alessandro momentarily.
Back real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I just don't want to see Vecino in the midfield again, so I'm willing to pay anything to not see him there. That is all.
Yeah.
Can we package it with Icardi?
Oh, man. Alessandro, one more thing from you. Can you please let us know what is your next awesome interview going on with the Inter clubs? If you guys haven't checked it out, we've been doing bits communicating with all the Inter clubs around the world. I'm pretty sure it's Bulgaria, if I'm not too mistaken, Alessandro. Yeah,
this week we interviewed the president of the Inter Club Bulgaria, and I'm in touch with at least other 2 or 3 clubs at the moment. But if you're part of a club, or if you know somebody that's part of the club, please send us an email, contact us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we are more than happy to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Sounds great. And if you haven't already, you are late to the party. Get to liking and subscribing on our YouTube and social media platforms, where we are going to stay consistent for you soon. Team Fire has represented so well today. So a huge shout out to my panel. Mario, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'll speak to you soon.
Take it easy.
Awesome. Christian, keep it real, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to keep enjoying this California sun before I go back to DC and freeze.
Nice one, man. And Alessandro, thank you for your work as always. Look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you, guys, and Forza Inter.
Awesome. And without forgetting, Forza Inter worldwide from all of us here. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.